I'm going to invite up our first judge, and it's Judge Jim Fallon. He didn't send me a biography, but that's okay. I found a little bit on him in Ballotpedia.
I hope it's accurate. Maybe it's good if it's not.
Right. He's a judge of the 15th District Court in Texas, and he was first elected in 2004. So far, so good, right? Okay. And he won re-election in 2008, 12, and 16. And now in 20, he's running again. And you're unopposed, right?
Correct.
Unopposed, okay. And he earned a BA from the University of Texas in Austin, and then got his JD degree from Texas Tech University. Prior to his judicial election in 2004, he worked as an attorney in the law firm of Jim Fallon. Okay, so if you would tell us a little bit about what you do, about your job, and about you.
All right, thank you, Karen. Appreciate it. Want your step in.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for having me. How many of y'all are going to vote in the November election?
Yeah.
Good, I win, because I'm unopposed, of course. Don't skip over me. Those of us unopposed always look at the undercounts, and we have a competition of who gets the most votes if you're unopposed. So make sure you vote in mine.
Okay.
I appreciate that. I grew up here in Sherman. I'm a fifth generation person here in Sherman. My mom.
Is that out here again?
Is that on?
Okay. Slide everything. Make it higher, baby.
Yeah, I'm a shorty in comparison.
Well, I can't get it.
Or at least
Here,
flip that up, yeah, yeah.
All right. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
Because this talk's very fascinating. You don't want to miss it. I got to watch what I say. I got 3 judges here who review my cases, so I don't want to make them mad. I grew up here in Sherman, 5th generation on my mom's side. My dad came here, stationed out at Perrin Air Force Base when he was in the Air Force. But my mom grew up here. And the only thing you'll remember out of this talk is that my great-grandfather was actually the judge of the 15th District Court, which is the court I'm a judge in. And I would be willing to bet that's unique to the whole state. He was in the 1920s, and actually his father, my great-great-grandfather, was a district judge, but they didn't number the courts then. But he did sit in Sherman, so they kind of moved around, covered other counties too. But he sat in Sherman, and since 15th District Court's the first number, I kind of go back to that too, and assume that he was probably the judge of the one I'm in too. A district judge, like Karen said, district court, like Karen said, we hear criminal cases, family law cases, and civil cases, basically. The bulk of our time is spent with criminal cases. That's most of our trials, are criminal cases. We do what are called bench trials on a lot of family law things. Very few of those go to a jury. Usually that's us deciding those. There's 3 district judges here, myself, Larry Phillips, and Brian Gary. I'm sure y'all know, I know you know Larry. I'm sure you know Brian, his dad who fairly recently passed away. And then there are 2 county court of law courts, Carol Seaman and Corky Henderson. And we're lucky right now because we've got, I consider to be a good group of 5 folks up there. We all get along well, we all work well together, we're willing to help each other out when needed. And it really works out well. I was real glad to get Larry on there when Rib Nall retired. That worked out good for all of us. We all do things a little bit different, but we all hear the same kind of cases, and the cases get divided up. Well, the 3 district courts all hear the same thing. They get divided up by our great district clerk's office back there, and the system is designed to keep it fairly level. Most of our jury trials are criminal cases, and those can range anywhere from what's called a state jail felony, which is the lowest level of a felony, range of punishment, 180 days state jail, up to 2 years state jail, which is different than imprisonment. The point is they want low-level ones not being in there learning bigger crimes, so to speak. Then we hear third-degree felonies, second-degree felonies, first degrees, and capital murder cases. I've heard a few capital murder cases. I hadn't had a death penalty case yet because the state, and the ones we happen to have had, elected not to seek the death penalty. So if they're convicted on that, it's just an automatic life without parole. And so we've had some of those. Those are some of the more interesting cases. We got several murders in the pipeline right now that we're trying to get tried, but with the COVID, we were prevented from having trials. That started in March, I think, Larry, is that? We got a directive from the Supreme Court and the Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the highest criminal court in Texas, that we couldn't have jury trials, and that ends the end of September. So we're going to attempt, under the rules they're giving us for spacing and mask and all that kind of stuff, to try to have a trial early in October. And I have been chosen to be the guinea pig, so to speak. We're going to try that, but I found out today that case, the last one we got down to on that, may get resolved. So it may fall over to Larry for him to be the guinea pig on that. The main problem is going to be getting a jury picked, because that's a lot of people. We start out. How many of y'all have had a jury summons and gone up there? I figured most of you probably. To get it down to about 50 for a jury panel, we need about 100 people there because some are I'm going out of town, I've been sick, I got a medical problem, whatever the qualifications are or the exemptions. And so we need to have about 100 people. Well, that's a lot of people in one room right now. And we're supposed to, according to the rules of the higher courts, be 6 feet apart. So that creates a little bit of a space problem. We're going to try to use the old courthouse because our courtrooms are too small for that. But anyway, if you get a jury summons coming up, you're going to have a mask on. You're going to be 6 feet away from each other. And unfortunately, even during the trial, we're going to have to do that. That's going to be a problem too. But logistically, we think that we've got that worked out. Picking a jury is going to be the problem just because of the number of people. But if you get a summons, we hope you will show up. It's very important. Brett Smith used to say when he was trying cases in my court before he was the DA and he was an assistant, he'd say jury service is second only to military service in serving your country. And I believe that's true. And I have found that juries really work to do the right thing. They're open with me after the trial's open. I go in and talk to them, and they're always pretty open about how they reach their decision. And they really struggle. They want to apply the law to the facts as they see it and combine that together and reach a just verdict. And I've been very impressed with how hard they do that. And how many of y'all have actually been on a jury?
A grand jury.
All right. The jury, do y'all remember what the facts are? Most people do. I mean, it's kind of a life-altering experience to an extent. And so we hope, and I would suspect in this group, people do their duty and do what they're supposed to do, and they show up for jury duty. And we appreciate it. We try to work through those things as quickly as we can. The cases to save everybody time. One thing I do that is a little different, but Larry has something in effect equivalent, so does Brian. I have what's called a drug court. Now mine are CPS cases. In cases where CPS has gotten involved in a family, usually it's a removal of the kids because of drug, and if it's because of drug use, they get the option of getting into drug court, and it's a kind of informal to an extent, but it's very time consuming for them, and we meet with them. We do it once a month. Some of them do it twice a month, but we meet with them, and it's kind of informal. I'm just kind of talking to them. We're in the courtroom, but we staff it beforehand, and I get updated on what's been going on and what they've been doing in treatment or whatever they're supposed to be doing. And then I talk to them, and they can, it's a conversation, and we don't normally do that in the courtroom. And that has been a very rewarding thing. We started that about 2010, I think. And it's been very rewarding for me because we've had a lot of success out of that, with families getting reunited that I don't think otherwise would have, and even some babies being born while the mother is in drug court and we know they're clean. That, again, may not have happened other than that. I've been on the bench since 2005 and I have greatly enjoyed it. I practiced for 15 years and I've about been on the bench for 15 years. I know I look too young to have been licensed 30 years to practice law. I appreciate Karen laughing at that. But I really enjoyed it. People say, what do you like best about your job? And I say, when I show up at work, my sole job is to try to do what's right. And there's not many jobs that are like that. I'm just supposed to listen to it and do it, within the bounds of what the law is on the issue we're talking about. But within the confines of that, just do what you think is right and what the right outcome is. And I try to think about that all the time, and I try to do that. Again, I greatly appreciate y'all having us here. I may be scooting out of here a little early. I got a call on the way here from the Sherman Police that they may need a warrant signed, and I thought it was going to be about 8:15 or 8:30 or so. That's one of the less pleasant things about our job is we're on call all the time, and we get calls in the middle of the night to sign blood warrants on DWIs and that kind of stuff. But we're on call for the police all the time, and they're going to be potentially texting me here in a little bit. If so, I got to go to the police station to sign it. But again, I appreciate everybody having us here. Thank y'all very much.